Hello, greetings, welcome, and gentani to another Godfather Part 2 Minute. With me, Alex Robinson.
And with me, Andrew Robinson.
And today we're talking about minute number 51.
51, you're my favorite number, Alex.
That's your favorite number?
Yeah, I remember you asked me last week, what's my favorite number? And I said 51.
Why?
Well, because I wanted the suspense to build up to this minute. Alex, repeat after me. E minuto. Numero. 51.
51.
Yes.
Nice. 51. 51.
That's it.
Oh, but like cinque plus 1.
Yes, that's
50
right.
plus
yeah.
1.
By the way, let me do a correction. Last week, I erroneously said it was cinquenta.
Uh-huh.
But I was thinking Spanish, which is cinquenta. Italian 50 is cinquanta.
Cinquanta. I knew that. I knew it was wrong.
I felt wrong.
I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah.
I didn't want to embarrass you. But so good.
Correction.
Glad we got that straightened out.
Tell us about the minute, Alex.
Well, in minute number 51, the one-day Godfather is today a humbly grocery delivery boy making his rounds on the Hell's Kitchen. Later at dinner, Vito is troubled, but before he can explain, a neighbor beckons in the window, tossing a bundle while telling the confused Corleone he'll pick it up the next week.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's in the package? It's a great cliffhanger.
It's a great cliffhanger. The minute could not have been
What's
cut.
in the package?
I'm insulted. He throws me a package, doesn't tell me what's in it. Yeah, Frankie, we were real happy about that package we threw you across the air shaft. I don't know, Alex.
I mean,
what do you think? Are you asking me what Vito thinks is in it?
what does he think is in the package, and what do you? Let's just speculate on what thing. Obviously, let's a peek behind the curtain. We do know what's in the package. Like as professional podcasters, we know that it's filled with weaponry.
Yeah.
But let's pretend we don't know that, and let's just speculate as to what could be in there.
Yeah.
Human head, for instance. No?
No. What else could he be? Why would he come back for it next week if it were a human head?
Well, he might be just saying he's going to come back for it.
You think that the cops are outside his door and have identified him as the Hell's Kitchen slasher?
The headsman of Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
It's got to be a better way for it.
The headhunter of Hell's Kitchen.
The headhunter of Hell. The Hoffman headhunter of Hell's Kitchen.
How do you say that in Sicilian? When you say it in Sicilian, it sounds better.
Yeah.
By the way,
he's the one-wheeled bicycle of Hell's Kitchen. Translate doesn't really have a direct translation.
Hey, Goodfellas was on the other night, and I caught a little bit of it.
Yeah?
I think it's a great scene where
he's like, "Are you talking to me?"
No. Who is that? Is that from Goodfellas?
No, that's from Taxi Driver.
Oh yeah, that's right. Where what is Joe Pesci's character name? Is that Paulie? No, Paulie's the head.
No.
Jimmy's Robert De Niro.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Paulie and
Josh Flanagan is killing me right now.
Yeah, Joe Pesci's character, where they go to his mother's house and end up eating on their way to bury the guy they killed.
Yeah,
and she tells the
Nicky?
joke.
No, Nicky Santoro is who he is in Casino. I can't think of his name in there.
So close. Nicky? Mickey?
It's too. Anyway, you have a scene with
so his mother,
Mrs.
Martin Scorsese's real mother,
right,
tells that joke in English,
yeah.
And after she says the punchline, she says, "Oh, that sounds better in Italian." I love it. That's so real, because I've been around people who've told translated jokes, and they're like, "Oh, it just sounds different."
Yeah,
but you can hear how it would sound funnier in another language.
Yeah, that's true. Humor is one of those things. it doesn't travel well through time or space.
What do you mean space?
Like distance wise, like you can tell a joke to your neighbor, and you guys can both think it's really funny. You tell that same joke to a person in China, and they're like, well, I don't know, like, so, or vice versa. I'm not saying the Chinese have no sense of humor. I'm just saying, it's just one of those things where it's so cultural that that's why also time. It doesn't generally. It's tougher to do because stuff just seems. It's different.
What causes more of a separation, a comedic separation, time or space?
It like in all humor, because
generally,
because I feel like
you got a better shot of making the person laugh if they're closer in time or closer in space. Like if you were talking to someone across the street, but they were from 100 years ago, versus someone now in China. Assuming that you could speak Chinese, that they literally understood you.
Right. It would depend on the translator, I guess.
Yeah.
They have to invent some universal humor translator that would rephrase the joke in whatever cultural terms would apply to the
That's a great AI feature.
That seems really subtle to have to like. If human translators can do it, I have a hard time believing who knows the algorithm these days.
Yeah,
I'm really stumped by that though, because I'm trying to think if it's it's tempting to think of it as like with the time one. If you really go really big picture and you're talking about someone like 1,000 years ago, like and I guess it really depends on the joke too, because I feel like physical comedy is always going to. That's going to be the most transcendent of all of the things, because everyone loves seeing a guy get a football in the groin, or
well, not necessarily a football.
But as an example,
it could be like a lacrosse ball from early Aztec times.
Totally,
it could be a soccer ball.
I think if you got someone from ancient Aztec times and were able to show them a video of someone getting hit in the nuts with a football, they would still laugh at it because it's still the same. It's still the same basic thing.
It is, right?
The nuts are being crushed. That is what is funny.
Crush nuts, always funny.
So I think physical comedy has a better chance of lasting than spoken comedy, or something that relies more on conception of like.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The only other thing I can think of is if somehow in the future people are more empathetic. And like, there's nothing funny about someone getting hit in the football in the groin. It's quite painful.
Yeah.
The same way there's stuff that we like look at stuff people in olden times used to think was funny, like making animals fight.
Yeah.
And they would love that. And we're all like, oh, now most, at least Western people would not be into that idea.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
But who knows? But
So Crushed Nuts.
Crushed Nuts.
That's the name of your comedy.
Always funny.
Your comedy troupe.
That's our low budget commercial this week.
Crushed Nuts.
Low budget items.
Oh, perfect. So it's I like how sometimes we need to flip it. We need to do the extra stuff early.
Yeah, totally.
And then we'll analyze all the nonsense of the minute. So Crushed Nuts, would it actually be nuts like almonds and cashews crushed, but the gimmick, the logo would be a guy holding his groin area? What's the product?
I don't think that's a good. That is on multiple levels. That is a awkward to try to sell nuts, and the image is of a guy getting with his crushed nuts, because it's conjuring an unpleasant.
Is it unpleasant? You said everyone laughs at it.
Oh, that's true. But then also
comedy might sell.
But then you're also putting the image in someone's head that what they're eating are crushed nuts.
Oh, literally.
Like you're selling a product called crushed nuts, and then you're like, here, now eat them. So that to me is like I think the
but the only shot you got with getting away with that is because it's literally not like crushed nut. It's like that's such a stretch. No one's going to think.
If you're in the supermarket and you have a choice between just regular peanuts and a company called Crushed Nuts, and there's a picture of it's like a wacky package.
It's perfect wacky packages. Yeah, I would get them as a novelty.
If I was the king of like cereal companies and stuff, I would totally team up with wacky packages.
Oh yeah,
and release like limited edition packages that, or at least on one side, had the same stuff as the thing. It's
right?
Such a natural, but
kids would love it.
Kids love it.
I mean, nowadays, I don't know. Parents are probably more serious about that kind of stuff, though, right?
Yeah.
Like Fizzoline.
Have we ever talked about Price is Right rules on this show?
What rules?
About how, like if you're trying to say, oh, guess how much this costs, and whoever's closest.
You and I have talked offline about this many times.
I guess this isn't really a we asked, we answered.
Okay.
It's because no one asked, but
what's the?
Well, I looked it up. What is the advantage to Price is Right rules?
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
Should we talk about this now, or just
sure? You're talking about it. Yeah.
So there were two theories. Number one is it prevents ties.
Okay.
Because you're automatically eliminating, because if say the price is $1, I bid 99 cents and you bid $1 1 penny, then we're both 1 penny away. How do you reconcile?
It doesn't actually eliminate ties though, because if I pick 100 and you pick 102,
but then you got the actual price, so that's.
Oh, because the Price is Right rules, you can't go over.
That's the thing. It's whoever gets closest without going over.
Without going over. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So it prevents ties.
So the other thing, this is a more Price is Right aspect to it, is that the companies that give the products as prizes, it's better for them to, if everyone bids high and then they're like, let's say there's a car, let's say, there's something that costs $100 for sale and everyone's like, $5, $7, $10, and then they're like, well, the person who got closest was the $7 bet. Then the people who have that $1 product, the makers of that, are like, now people think our product costs $7 because someone just won it based on they bid way too high, but they still, now our product is associated with costing that much.
Interesting.
Whereas the other way, the product is associated with being cheaper than it actually is. Because if the person wins by saying 1 penny and they win it, then the implication is that the thing is much cheaper than people think. Because
so the companies want people to think that the item is a good quality, but it's not expensive.
Yes.
Okay.
Or they just
That's why people bet low, because they don't want to overbid, which would disqualify them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it's terrible from the contestant standpoint. It's absolutely terrible. If I guess $10 and you guess 11, that totally shuts me out. From a rules mechanics standpoint, it's an absolutely terrible.
But that's the strategy part of it, is that if you're the.
But there's no strategy, because the order is not. You have no say in the order.
Well, but there's a strategy if you're the last person, because we've seen people anyway. We're getting sidetracked here. We'll talk about that more off the air. Because I've seen people do the stupid mistake of, let's say you have 4 contestants. The first person says 75 cents. The second person says $1.10, and then the third person is like $1.11, and then the last person just goes, $1.12, and so that person in the middle that was a bad strategy on their part.
It was, but my last comment on this is that that rule only benefits the last person, right? Regardless of what everyone else does. Like
whoever goes last has an advantage.
Like an insane advantage. It's not balanced. It's like, and that's not a good. I don't think it's a good rule, and therefore a good game, because it's just not balanced. Right. And you don't even get any choice into the order that you get to go. So anyway, that's.
So what else do you think was in the package?
I think there is not a head.
Not a head.
No, I think there are tomatoes.
You can't get a head in this world.
I think there are tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Yes.
Is that 4 oranges foreshadowing the down? That would be good if it was tomatoes, because that would be like or oranges would be foreshadowing his death.
I think
it's all pesticide sprayers.
Well, I think they are poisoned tomatoes, and the neighbor, we don't know who it is yet, right? We don't know who it is testing this guy's loyalty, Vito's loyalty, because he didn't know him yet. Right. Because if he dies, then the neighbor will know that he ate them without permission. But if he lives and gives them back, so it's a test of his loyalty.
I like that.
I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often in mob movies.
That someone
like those kinds of loyalty tests.
I I knew someone once who, through business, knew some mobsters. And at one point, they're like, "Hey, come on in!" And they knew him from the neighborhood and stuff. And they brought him into like, "Hey, they wanted to give him something." Whoa. And they're like, "Oh, wait here, or we just want to give you something." And he was waiting in a room, and next to him was like an open safe with stacks of cash.
What?
And he said he had no doubt in his mind that they purposely put him here and were watching to see how he reacted to the money being put there. As a
Do you think they were watching him?
Yeah, he's like, there's no doubt in my mind that
like
they
a camera
were,
or something,
or just either a camera or whatever, like through double glass, or something like that. So of course he didn't touch anything. So,
Do you think they invited him? So did they not just a test, but to what end? Were they trying to get him into the business? Into the business?
It's possible. It's possible they might, or at least were exploring. Like, because my friend worked for a department store, so it's possible they were looking for maybe some kind of angle into the department store. Or, if I feel like if you're in this business, if you want to stay ahead, you always got to be looking for any angles
in the department store business.
No, it's cutthroat. They're all going out of business.
First move, make friends with the guy who oversees the men's apparel.
Yeah.
Once you got that down, you move up to the ladies section. Yeah, I think you're right. You always got to be looking for different ways to make money.
Yeah. Always. That's what Barzini says.
What else you got for this minute?
Well,
I do have some stuff from the book. Not very much.
Okay, well, the other thing I just wanted to say is that I knew someone else who once lived next door to drug dealers, and
did he get a discount? It's dangerous. Business is a little bit dangerous.
All that dry cleaning on their big expense. No, well, they lived in like a next door apartment building, so they weren't in the same building. They were in the building next door. And they like, it wasn't like it was a crack house or anything. They pretty much kept to themselves, didn't make any trouble in the neighborhood. It was just a local business.
How did they know it was a drug house?
Well, they could tell people were coming and going all times of day and stuff like that. And I think they might have even, I don't know what
but they knew.
Yeah. Well, so one day they knew because they were in their backyard and they found basically a giant like pillowcase sized parcel of weed.
Whoa.
And what had happened was the people next door were being, much like this mystery person handing him the bag, the people who live next door were being raided by the cops, so they just threw the bag over the fence.
Oh my
And were like, we'll get it back later, when the cops aren't here.
Whoa.
And so my friend was like, what do we do with it? Like, what do we...
wow, did they just leave it out there, or did they bring it inside?
Well, they brought it inside.
They did bring it inside. Whoa.
Well, yeah, I guess that was a risk, but they... Well, unfortunately, we've come to that time where we have to say goodbye to the non-paying customers.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you can never lose your customers. If you want to hear the rest of this episode, we go on for a bit longer, about minute number 51. You can go to godfatherminute.com/support.
And you can go there now.